Ah, are you okay, man? Oh, poor baby. Hey, you're okay. You're okay, buddy. You're alright, you're alright. You're good. Oh, you puke, dude. Yeah, a little puke. That's a great start to a fucking stream. Well, obviously not seeing it, but still, you're okay. But, man, is it that cartilage shit that you were trying to eat? I think it was. Was that what the fuck that shit? Oh my god, this dog, dude. Zukov, you gotta, like, be careful of what you eat, man. Come here. Come on. That poor baby. God, you fucking nut. Why is there a spider nest literally right here? I don't see a spider. Maybe a little nest. Whatever. Come on, bud. Man, you're making me nervous with your bodily functions right now, dude. The past, like, 10 minutes, man. You have really unleashed some things. Okay, there we go. Grab his food bowl. Yeah, you haven't soiled your food bowl. My goodness. This poor boy. This poor boy. You like had the most slimiest situation, dude, and I really do not like it. That better been all your problems for the day, dude. Seriously. Poor thing. I ain't going nowhere. Go back up to your spot. Fuck you think I'm going, Zukov, huh? I ain't going nowhere. Yet. Oh, okay. Sounds fourth. Yep, there we go. Hey. Hey. Alright. That poor little Zukov, man. Just having all sorts of bodily issues. Almost had it in my room again. But luckily this time, I was able to catch that before it even begun. Oh, man. This poor buddy. Hey. Stop looking over there, man. What the fuck? What the hell? Just staring at me like you fucking flexing or some shit, you weirdo. Get myself waking up here. Hey. Honestly, my morning was pretty chill up until like the last fucking 20 minutes here. And poor old Zukov decided to have a bunch of issues. I better have a few more issues there, dude. I don't want more issues out of you. I know eating that cartilage thing that he discovered randomly was a bad idea. Honestly, I don't even know fucking how, but, like, his shit was straight up, like, fucking, like a rifle projectile or some shit. Like, I was kind of shocked. I was like, Jesus. I didn't think there could be, like, such force to launch something like legitimately like a few fucking feet. I was like, what the fuck? Sukaf has like power to like launch things multiple feet with his ass. If he wanted the power to do so, he has that power. It's just like, what the fuck? He's straight up is like a walking a projectile launcher. Sukaf, would you stop licking there? Knock it off, man. I know you had like some very interesting passage happen, but you don't need that. You don't need to keep doing that, man. In fact, please stop. Please. Man, Zukov. God. Of course, so I, catch him, and I'm yelling, no! Because he's about to take a dump on all over my room again. I was just like, no, we're not having this happen again. And of course, he kind of actually freaked out and literally hid in my bathtub for some reason. And every time I'd be like, come on, outside, I'm getting you outside. Like, I was like trying to get him. He was just like, he literally curled up in a tinier ball and his tail was like, bah, 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 bah. It's like, do you want me to pick you up or something? Do you want me to, like, bop you on the nose or something? Like, he's in a position where, like, I could see it. He's all, like, scared, but it's just like, I'm not doing anything. Like, I stopped you before you really before you fucked up. So I'm trying to get you to a spot where you don't fuck up even more. But for some reason, he just was not about that, I guess. I mean, eventually I just went to the door and opened it, and I heard him run right out, and he did, so... He's just, he's an oddball. Zukov, you know you're an oddball, right? You're really weird. Like, and I demand that you, like, come up to me and shit. Like, if it's trying to help you deal with your bodily functions, you want to run away from me. And when I don't want you, he always annoys me. By jumping up on me, wanting to be on my lap, and all this shit, and it's like... You and I need to, he needs to just, like, we need, like, a mind meld or something, like a Vulcan mind meld, because this dog has not quite clicked yet on, like, the mentalities or the time frames of when him and I want to, like, cuddle with each other or whatever, or, like, hug each other or be with each other and annoy each other. Like, when I want to annoy him, he wants nothing to do with me. When he annoys me, I want nothing to do with him, necessarily. It's just like, bruh, why? Why do you do this? Zukov, stop it! And that's why no one wants to give you kisses. Nobody. Like, everyone will give you loves and pets and scritches, but they know where that tongue's been. It's gross. Fucking little freakazoid. Man, look at you. You're absurd. You're an absurd little dog. Oh, man. The daily life of a dog owner. This morning, honestly, was just so chill up until, like, the last 30 minutes. Now I'm all wide awake and like, ah! Just over this little turd. Oh, my God. You just gotta love it. You gotta love situations like that. It's like, the day's going well, and then all of a sudden you see a dog starting to do some, body positionings that you don't want to see, and it's like, alright, I'm awake. I woke up now. Man, he's just been a pill. And now you're trying to be all cute, be like, yes. You're doing that shit now. The yes. The thing that a lot of dogs and a lot of pets do. You little jackass. Look at you. You've been having bodily issues. Like, just before I started the stream, you had a little puke moment. And before that, you had, like, a back door issue. And now you're just chilling. Oh my God, he's about to collapse that head. Oh, yep, it's about to collapse. That head's about to drop. And go on, drop it. Drop your head. Clunk. He's gonna do it. He's gonna kaplunk. He's trying hard to keep his head up. Wow, I'm surprised. I thought he would try to drop it by now. Oh, there it is. There's fracturing. It's about to give in. Oh, he's giving in. Oh, almost there. Almost there. Come on. Drop your head. Oh my god. He's not going to. He's gonna hold his head up and be like, I need to still be awake. I'm still awake. Actually, yeah. Oh, fuck me. A little bit of a tunage. Something a little chill. Hey, there is. Cool. So, actually, I saw on a Portland subreddit today, I guess on a dude from Hillsborough or some shit. It kind of got popular because he's like, because of the current situation in this country and blah blah blah, I'm turning my guns in and stuff like that. And you should too. And it's like, okay, you do you, boo. And frankly, I actually was kind of surprised, but a majority of that subreddit was actually, like, no. Like, I don't think I will do that. Like, at least from what I noticed, all the top comments are basically like, the only reason why me, as a liberal, have a gun now at this point is because of fascists. And because of the far right and the insurrection and all this other shit. Actually, I know there was one dude who was saying, yeah, I went to go get my concealed carry, and being in the similar crowd that a lot of these type of people are in, yeah, I feel like I've most certainly made the right choice. Even for me, honestly. Because it's just like, yeah, if this is like a legit problem where just so barely over a week ago, and then less than a week ago, there was 2 shootings, one of them due to a lot of this fucking problem, and the other just being a daily American issue. That fascists left to exacerbate and enable and incentivize, if anything. Because they garner a lot of, at least ideas of like, hey, we can get our idea across, and coerce and manipulate a lot of disenfranchised white folks specifically into this type of ideology. Of course, there's always going to be, you know, at least people who might be white passing enough to believe that shit, or willing to join our cause even though they're not. But like for me, it's like, even a lot of the more like NIMBY liberal style people that fucking are usually all about like, no one should have them and blah 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 blah. Like a lot of them are starting to be like, it's, you know, maybe having 1 or 2 is actually not a bad idea. And frankly, it's also, especially with Uvalde, considering how the police there literally did nothing at all. And it was actually fucking Border Patrol that was able to fucking stop the shooting further. And it, like, knowing that, it's like, there's also a lot of people that are like, yeah, I mean, when you can call 911 and, you know, within seconds, guess what? The police are not going to be there. They're just not. And if they are, they're basically just going to take a little criminal report record and then just leave. So, essentially, a lot of our system is saying, like, yeah, you're kind of on your own. And there's then that, especially considering circumstances, yeah, it's understandable why I think more people will probably believe that, like, yeah, it's okay to have them, and there should be an ability for people to have access to them, but obviously there needs to be roadblocks and restrictions. And majority of people, luckily, I do think, believe that in one way, shape, or form, but I mean, I guess it's just like, we're not going to really totally, like, be a part of that idea, because, you know, you might take all of them or something. Like, people think that, like, because there's, you know, programs in place, like gun buyback programs, or more stricter gun regulations and shit, there's just a legit strong segment of the population that just thinks that that is basically, they're coming to take the guns, that's a slippery slope. Slippery slope. It's like, no. Like, there's plenty of countries that have very strict accessibility when it comes to firearms, and they don't have any of these problems. And if anything, there is legit firearm ownership in those countries, but they just can't willy-nilly have whatever the fuck they want necessarily, and also have to go through a very strict process to get it. I've got to charge my phone here. It's like, why can't we just have something similar, like some basic fucking standard that's federalized? Because, like, I don't trust states to just enact these on their own and on an equal level. So there needs to at least be some sort of federalized equal playing field on this shit. And then if states wish to expand on it further from there, they can. But there at least needs to be some sort of a federalized standard with this shit when it comes to accessibility. And yeah, having things like gun buyback programs and stuff. Because people think, like, oh, that's just gonna destroy them and shit. It's like, not necessarily. I mean, unless the specific place they go to does that. But it basically just means that, yeah, I don't want the weapon anymore, so I'm gonna sell it. And instead of selling it to another private owner, you're just essentially selling it to the state, where they will likely, you know, repurchase it, or well, they're going to purchase it, then probably clean a record of it, then sell back to a, you know, a licensed store or some shit, and it'll go back on the market that way. I suppose, like, when it comes to the continued manufacturing of them, I mean, I can kind of see maybe limiting that. But, I mean, the fact that there's at least a lot of different variables that can help potentially limit the issue and still allow, you know, average Joe folks like me, so to speak, to, you know, go for the procedures and get a firearm if they want. Like, it's just the idea that we just don't have something like that. It's just kind of ludicrous. But I still definitely find it really curious that a lot of people on the Portland subreddit are just like, yeah, I'm not exactly fond of just, like, trusting the state to, you know, like, protect me. Uvalde kind of, you know, told me that, and also considering, like, a lot of white nationalist and fascist types, someone was saying repeal the Second Amendment. I'm not hearing anything like that. Here, let me just find this this specific post I'm talking about. So here's the Portland subreddit. Oh, what the fuck? Architects Designs of Portland. Oh, that is, yeah, I know what that is. It's one of the bridges. Portland's population dropped over 11,000 from 2021. Here it is. Because Real Dad goes viral for starting his guns. Here's like yours. So, I mean, the video itself isn't really that important. It's this shit. Gotta keep my gun around so when climate change or the economy collapses or whatever, I could take the easy way out. So, this guy's, you know, taking a little bit more of a cynical approach with it. But nonetheless, the only reason I've ever wanted a gun is to protect myself from Republicans. True. This is why I, a liberal anti-gun snowflake, did. Yep, it was interesting. I was interested in hunting before, but started really learning about guns 2020 for exactly this reason. And honestly, yeah, I feel the same way. When Trump endorsed the only good Democrat is a dead Democrat, that was the catalyst for me to buy / train with firearms. Exactly. I'm actually working on my video breaking in my Vishka, and honestly, it's just like, even though I literally have no formal experience or training with firearms and shit, I mean, like, most of it, frankly, is either family or self-taught. But, I mean, honestly, that's, even if it is, that's very fucking important to have and to keep up on it. So the reason why I bought them too. Here's a comment I was mentioning about the concealed handgun license. When I went from my CHL, I think I got another glimpse into the way they think and was convinced that I made the right decision. Couldn't believe the shit they were talking and so proud of. I'm not gonna be an all-armed liberal when these psychos decide to start killing us and demanding equity and personal liberty. It's pretty rare valid reason to own a gun. I know how to use it. Yep. Also, there's a few other morons in here that, you know, were wanting to kind of clap back, that got massively downvoted. Yeah, right here. Here's one. What exactly is it you need protecting from? Because you're too much of a fucking moron to understand it. And of course, I have to, you know, pop in. Fucking lol. Of course, I get a lot of likes. Of course, people will agree with me on this. No shit. Fucking lol. When fascist death squads start rounding up people in their insurrection to electric boogaloo, you'll be regretting that. Fascists are on the rise in this country and they worship death like a religion. I'm not sitting by and letting them take over. We don't need cowards like the pigs in Uvalde and just about everywhere else in this country where cops should be actually doing their job. No, they enable these problems and oppress the underclass. Cops are legally allowed to not protect you. Supreme Court ruling from 2005 on that, if you doubt it. They're just as much of a problem as fascists in the country, especially when they actively recruit them and become hand-to-hand. Anyone just refuses to survive a gun, especially if they want to fight, politically fight back against fascism in this here United States, then I think they're exceptionally idiot of epic proportions. We're basically saying, hey, make me an easy victim, please. I mean, because honestly, like, I mean, because that's essentially what you're saying. It's like, oh, you know, like, fascism and far-right, you know, extremists are on the rise, and one of the two most recent shootings that happened, that was on the news, happened to be from one of these type of people and from their philosophy. And the other part of it, you know, with the most recent one, Uvalde, it shows the problems with the fucking cops and how they have such a very, you know, thwarted, you know, prioritization when it comes to their fucking job. It seems like whenever a lot of far-right nationalists or fascists do mass shootings, they get a nice little, you know, handcuffing and, you know, probably get to go to Burger King or something before they go to jail like fucking Nicholas Cruz. But if it's like, you know, some mentally ill person, like, you know, it was for Uvalde, who had a lot of fucking red flags because of our problem of accessibility of firearms in this fucking country, they don't do shit. So, yeah. Why are people considering guns again? And this person literally just, like, continues to be a fucking moron and not get it. Tell me, Dirty Harry, how often do you have anything stolen from you? Did having a gun help? How exactly many times have you have to discharge a firearm while under attack as a civilian? Blah, 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 blah. It's just like, Jesus Christ. Like, yeah, like, that's the entire fucking point of having one. Yep, having a firearm is literally just for, like, those things specifically. It's like you fucking idiot. I mean, it's also why I at least try to, you know, put understanding, at least, you know, to my position about this to some of my friends, like Rip City, because, like, I mean, yeah, like, especially considering maybe the immediate sense, like, if there's mass protesting and shit like that, yeah, I agree with him, but there's gonna be a time where you're just a fucking idiot if you don't bring one. Like, there's just gonna be a point where shit's gonna be so intense and extreme with this shit that you legit would be an idiot not to. Because of how extreme and how radical a lot of the people on the far right are becoming with this shit. And how a majority of fucking GOP voters straight up believe in the Nazi Great Replacement theory. At least a modernized version of it was actually catalysted by a Frenchman. Like Renaud something or some shit. Renaud Kazi, I think. Definitely be here next time. I'm stocking up on coffee drinks for it. A. Signar become a gun show? Not exactly. I guess just the virtue of me having them, yeah. Like, if I go out shooting and go on range day, I'm definitely gonna have them. You know, and have videos of it. What's this food should I try next? Raspberry, peach, or black cherry? Ooh. Black cherry is definitely good. Peach is definitely good. Dude, those are like the 3 best flavors they got. Outside of just the original one. Oh, I wish they had strawberry. Strawberry would be pretty hell dope. You know, honestly, maybe they do. But, just not too sure about it. Oh wow, this is kind of something that kind of confirms my feeling about some things. 83% of Americans says the U.S. is off the rails.
Alright guys, so New York Post article,
as midterm elections loom.
Believe U.S. has gone off the rails as midterm elections loom. 83%. That's a pretty high number if I don't say so myself. A staggering 83% of Americans think the U.S.
I mean, this is literally just right on the feed, especially what I was just talking about when it comes to like fashion on rise and stuff like that. Because I was watching this before I started stream, because I saw this recommended to me on my on the Portland subreddit. It was about that going viral because he turned his guns over and shit. But pretty much everybody in here is just like, yeah, I'm keeping mine. Like this dude, it's like, yeah, I'm keeping it. This person's like, yeah, the only reason why I want one was because of like Republicans and blah 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 blah. This person's like, I'm an anti-gun snowflake, but I got one. It's just like, I mean, you know, there's just like a fucking swath of comments in here that are just straight up like, yeah, you know, cool for this guy, but I'm not exactly, you know, confident in our state nor in our current system. So yeah, having one's probably a good idea, but you know, so it's just like, oh, I wonder why. Even with a lot of these mass shootings that are going on. Which subreddit is that? It's the r/Portland. It's kind of a lib subreddit, you know, especially considering it's Portland. And actually, there's legitimately like a lot of fucking NIMBYs and conservatives like to kind of flock all up in this shit. Oh fuck! I didn't even see this. New Seasons workers launched independent union effort. Dude, fuck yeah. Oh, it's 666. I can't fucking disturb that. I have to keep it that way. Fuck, 666 likes. Hell yeah. As a New Seasons worker, I support staff and I hope customers who do too speak up about it. Sign your card. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good shit. At least say, you know, it's like there's shit like that going on. Honestly, yeah, despite things going off the rails, including, you know, I guess 81% of Americans thinking that, it's like, you know, you gotta at least, you know, take some sort of little trolley car or some sort. Hop on, you know, even if it's a tiny one, hop on the Union trolley car. I mean, because other people were doing that there. At least for New Seasons. I know there's a unionization effort for a strip club in North Hollywood in California. And, you know, gamers have been doing it. So it's like, I mean, people are kind of looking at that train car and like, you know, if it's going off the rails, I want to at least be on this one, you know, before it goes off the rails. You know what I mean? So.
Amid record high inflation, shortages of baby formula, sky-high gas prices, and mass shootings. A sobering new survey released Tuesday reveals. The Gallup poll
sobering, huh?
From only 16% of adults surveyed said they are satisfied with the way things are going in the country at this time. 83% are dissatisfied, with the remaining 1% having...
Who's the 16%? Like, honestly, I want to know who the 16% of people are. What, rich fucks? Because I feel like, you know, if it's just polling people and shit, I have a feeling that they're not just inherently rich fucks. They're probably just, you know, there's probably legit just some random ass motherfuckers that legit think, this is fine. And I just want to know, like, who are those people and why in the fuck do you think that? Like, I mean, honestly, like, what? Like, even if you think that, like, yeah, there's, you know, potentiality for, you know, some things to go down and, you know, that could be good and shit and blah, blah, blah. Like, even if you think that's, like, Yeah, are things fine? Yep, I'm satisfied with current state of affairs. Yep. It's like, what? Who in the fuck thinks that right now?
And are satisfied with the direction of the country. The foul mood of Americans is an ominous sign for President Biden and Democrats as the congressional midterm elections approach. According to the poll, the low confidence rate in the state of the nation represents a considerable 6-point decline from last month and is the worst measure since the U.S. Capitol riot in January 2021. Democrat satisfaction plummeted 14 points since April to just 24%.
U.S. Capitol, that's a light way of putting that.
Accounting for most of the overall drop. Now, only about a quarter of Democrats are content with U.S. affairs, the lowest point of Biden's presidency. Meanwhile, only 18% of independents and 4% of Republicans are happy with the status quo. And so
4% of Republicans? Okay, those people I think are just rich fucks. They're like, yeah, I got some stocks and, you know, I'm investing stuff. I'm good. Yeah, I don't like anything happening, but, you know, I'm satisfied with my own personal stuff. Like, oh my god, yeah, it's those 4% of people I think are probably just like rich fucks that are like, yeah, I'm blind to it because I have money.
About 1,000 adults. Anyway, they go on here. Biden's job approval rating is underwater, with 54% giving him a thumbs down and just 41% approving of the job he's doing. And that's a higher number than what I've seen recently. I've seen many in the high
41% approve of it? Oh my god. What, because he's made a few speeches and, you know, like, and barely can get through them? Like, he's pretty much, like, at this rate, like a husk. Like, he literally has, like, this... Every time you see him, like, do speeches, he's always, like, this... He's always, like, squinting and, like, struggling, and looks like he's literally using all of his brain power to just, like, do what he's doing. It's like, oh, yeah, you know... I'm feeling, you know, good job, you know, I'm feeling great, you know, I'm feeling pretty confident about that. Especially when he's also, like, saying, hey, where's our backbone, and why aren't, you know, we as American people doing shit, we ought to vote harder, blah, 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 blah. Who are these 41%? I've never fucking seen them. Yeah, I mean, either. Like, I've never met them, I've never seen them, like... There's only maybe, like, some people who are like, yeah, I'm hoping Biden will get his act together, blah, blah, blah. But, like, I know the people who, like, approve of him, but aren't exactly happy about him right now. You know, so it's just, like, even then. And, that's, like, a pretty major rarity. Like, pretty much almost everybody I talk to, for the most part, essentially just hates the dude. In one way, shape, or form.
Has not risen above 43% nor fallen below 40% since last August. So, but that's only with this pollster. Others, again, I've seen in the 30s. Meanwhile, Congress remains very unpopular with the public, with 77% of respondents disapproving of the job it's doing and 18% approve. I mean,
that's just usual. Like, I remember when I was first getting politics, like 2014 and 15 and shit, where I was seeing poll data about that. I was like, oh, Congress has a very low approval rating, huh? Well, I guess they suck.
Is broken.
And guess what? They still suck.
I would like to talk to that 16% who say, no, we're doing good. Like, we're going in the right direction.
Yeah, no shit. I want to know, like, really, out of all this, I want to know who those 16 fucking % of people are. And 41% of people that think Biden's doing a good job. Like, because also that implies that, like, out of the 41% of people, 16 are just utterly, totally happy about it. While at least the other ones that, you know, and the rest of the percentage might be like, yeah, I don't like, you know, everything, but I at least, you know, approve of how he's doing, blah, 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 blah. But there's still, like, this weird, like, fucking, like, there's, like, these blinders that they have, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, I want to, like, what are you seeing on these blinders here, dude? Like, what is it?
On whatever they're on. Whatever pill they're taking, whatever they're doing with their day, I mean, sign me up for that shit.
So no shit.
People who are just colossally disconnected from the world, you know, who just don't follow the news and don't really know what's going on and are just living their lives. There is something to be said about that kind of an approach, isn't there? But look, ultimately it's just putting your head in the sand, you know? I think what frustrates me the most about this is that this idea that, well, it has to be this way. Like, as if this is a natural state of affairs. There's nothing natural about it.
Yeah, honestly, like, that's probably, you know, what it is for some people, at least. Where it's just like, yep, this is just kind of the way it is, so I'll just kind of, you know, go with the flow. And honestly, it's just, in my mind, you know, that type of shit is just very beyond hyper self-defeating, because it pretty much kills any idea of, like, well, if, you know, it's like, even though I personally think things should change one way or another, and this way or that way, it's just the way it is. So, whatever. I'm not gonna bother with it. And it's like, no, you very much should bother with it because, like, especially if it's something that is major, heavily exploitative and oppressive, to you as just an individual in the country and shit, then it'd probably be odd something be dealing with, especially when it comes to a lot of this type of shit with, the exploitation of the underclass and the working class and shit. I mean, that's a major role that a lot of people are starting to notice now at this rate. But even then, there's still a plethora and well over half of the country that still doesn't see it quite yet. Because people don't want to know what's going on, because they're going to be fucking don't realize there's going to be economic chance about to happen. Yeah. And they're not going to be prepared, and they're not going to be, like, at least on some level, on a better playing field when that shit hits. Like, I mean, when it comes down to at least certain, like, resources, certain things, like, I'm, make sure I at least have, what I got. But I definitely don't got everything. Like, frankly, especially when it comes to things like food and shit like that, honestly, I need to probably start taking a lot more of a stronger incentive to stock up on a lot of that shit. Like, I'm definitely thinking about other metrics of things, but at least when it comes to others, I definitely need to start kind of focusing on that as well, even for myself. So it's just like, I mean, if you're not paying attention by any means, then you're just going to get fucked way harder than if you are. And even if you are and you can't really do that much, to change it even for your own self directly, at least you still have a better chance of faring off because you at least know what's happening. At least you know what's about to happen. It's like, oh, yep, there's a crash coming. Better be prepared for that.
Look, it's all created. It's all choices that have gotten us to this point. So even with the things that are laid out here, as like, hey, here are the reasons why, we're having issues, whether it's inflation, baby formula shortage, high gas prices, mass shootings. There are policy prescriptions to each and every one of those things. Now, maybe some would affect it more or less, but there's certainly things you can do to address this stuff. So the baby formula shortage, thankfully, Biden just did the right thing and invoked the Defense Production Act to create the baby formula. That's wonderful.
I'm working 12, 6 hours a day, just trying to make sure I'm financially prepared to survive. Oof. Damn. Special work that I definitely couldn't be able to work that fucking long. But, I mean, at least, from my end of things, fighting to make sure that I get, stronger and better wages and shit, when it comes to my union contract. I mean, that's at least, one way I've been doing it. There's different ways to do it. And all of them at the end of the day will help be a more beneficial factor for you in the long run. Because at least for me, not just even for myself, but for everybody else that, is or potentially, would be working at the place that I work at. I mean, not obviously just my store, but just for the company, they will get, just that much of a better outcome. UFCW, Local 555. It's one of the, it's a local part of one of the more larger unions in the U.S., which is affiliated, which I think with the biggest one, with the AFL.
That's wonderful. Now, he should have done it a few weeks earlier, but better late than never. Okay, so now he's doing something to address that. If he had done this early on, we never would have had the shortage to begin with. Mass shootings, of course, there are reforms to our gun laws that you could do that would massively reduce the number of mass shootings. That would be positive. That's something we could do. When it comes to inflation, you should bust up monopolies because monopolies are responsible for inflation. 60% of inflation is from corporate profits. Corporations just jacking up their profit margins. So you got to...
Which, by that metric, any inflation that is going on would essentially only be, at 20% of what it actually is versus, its current inflation rate. So inflation, by all means, shouldn't even necessarily be that fucking bad right now. Like, yeah, it would be like 20% bump is bad, but not as bad as, it is now. So, I mean, it's United Food and Commercial Workers. There are musicians unions and like and shit like that do exist, but no, not part of that. Actually, I do know some of these type of unions, like mine, for example, will have like, I don't know if mine does specifically, but I know some unions similar to like my type of the structure that our unions in will actually have like music groups that have their own name that's essentially like their own like local unit that's tied in with that. One of my friends is in a musician and thought it might have been the one. Yeah, because I know I mean, because especially with labor, there's a lot of labor songs and labor music that comes out from that, and with that, a lot of musicians, and there's a lot of musicians that would actually legit be a part of like actual like musician unions and shit. In fact, actually, there's one here. Let me pull the screen out real quick just to pull Google and fucking go on Wikipedia real quick actually, because there's this one lady that was a major union pro-labor agitator named Faith Petrick, who was actually part of one of these. Here we go. Born in fucking 19... She almost lived to be 100. But born basically about as small like upbringing as you possibly could. Just a log cabin near Orofino, Idaho. It's just like, I mean, you can't really get more like out out in the boonies type of like upbringing than that. Taught her and her three siblings how to sing hymns. So had an old pump organ at home so they could sing westerns and songs together. So she joined the peace movement and later lent her Voice of Various Causes, joining Selma to Montgomery marches and defending a gay couple that moved to her neighborhood. Petrick learned to play guitar during the Great Depression in the 30s. During World War II, Petrick was a Rosita Riveter building Liberty ships in New Jersey. In 1962, Petrick became the head of the San Francisco Folk Club and began hosting the popular jam sessions in Haight-Ashbury. She retired from her job at California State Department of Rehabilitation in 1970 after her daughter finished college to focus on music full-time. She co-founded a portable music festival along with other members of the group. And the Sweet Mill String Band group. So there's a couple other different, folk musicians there too, to check out. Probably have very similar views and ideologies. The group traveled around North America in an old school bus, performing at numerous folk festivals. That's pretty dope. But here, Petrick was involved with the Spanish Civil War refugees, anti-fascist communities, working for racial equality, and was part of a major political target. Well, I mean, it just says political target, but you can guarantee you she was. During the McCarthy era, she was also a member of the IWW and performed under the label of the union's Entertainment Workers Industrial Union, number 630. So, and she actually has like a lot of different cool little songs and shit that are pretty based. Work by as a musician, but that's a relatively small percentage of my income. Yeah, I need to start doing that. Like honestly myself, because I being a musician, I'm at least somewhat knowledgeable on different musicians. Like I have my bass guitar over here. I just need to fucking start buying some more like a fuckload of strings for my 6-string over here, because I'm still missing a D string on it. But this should at least be tuned, and because I was playing it the other day. But where did my pick go? I saw that. There it is. Is that any? Well, yeah, it is. Okay. I don't know that song entirely. I just know that little like. Yeah. Ah! Empty bottle. Don't drop. Yeah. I think one of the strings might be just slightly off, but definitely still in tune. Sick. Yeah, I had a little rust in there, but I haven't played in a couple days. Had a little bit of initial rust, but eventually started warming up pretty quick. Actually, I mean, for this one, like I said, honestly, this is the one that's a lot more fucking like. Here, actually, let me take the screen off real quick. This one's a lot more like flexed out. Like this one, if I were to perform, this would probably be the one I would be performing with and shit. Because, well, it's all plastered and graffitied out. But like I said, it's missing the one string, and it's most likely, absolutely, certainly not in tune. Great. Yeah, drop a pick. That's great. Alright, it's in D at least. Okay, I guess it is in tune. No, it's not. That one wasn't. There we go. And it's still kind of off. Alright. That sounds like it should be. Right? I guess just because of that D string, it doesn't have that full, like, that low one at least gives it, kind of like fullness, but not entirely. Boo! See, this is why I haven't touched in a minute. D, yes. A, yes. Okay, that's what was fucked up. Okay. Okay. Alright, that sounds better. Hey!
Shut up!
Need to figure out chords of it too.
You got work today?
Yeah, I do. It's not quite yet.
Oh, 3.
I just need to remember that. Well, I have to figure it out and play around with it, especially when it's missing a string, but it could work.
You're missing a string?
Yeah, I've been missing one. I just haven't replaced it yet. I need to buy it. I don't want to buy a whole set, so I'm just going to get an individual one.
Can you do that?
Yeah. Yeah, you can do that.
I don't know anything about guitars.
I need to get the fucking... Because as soon as I do, there will be a lot more jam sessions out of this fucking thing. Especially with a lot of different labor songs I know. Because I definitely know for sure I know Union Made, which actually by proxy means I know at least Working Folks Unite as well, because that's pretty much in the same fucking key and shit. And the same chord progression. I know there's actually a chord progression for guitar, at least a version for Solitaire Forever in that. Where the vocals is the melody, but the guitar is just holding the entire chord down, where it's like dun 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 or something. It's basically just two. It's just two chords going back and forth. Actually, I know I can fucking find the specific type of style that it's in. I have to look up Tom Jurevich though, because he's the one who does it. Which actually, Tom Jurevich is a really good music artist to check out too, because he's actually a labor activist and a professor at, I think I'll actually say somewhere in here, I think.
Shut up, dude.
Shut up!
You saw me 5 minutes
I think
ago.
it's a University of Chicago, I believe? Yeah, let me see. Okay, it helps to actually properly spell the name. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Oh, University of Massachusetts. Amherst. Okay, so. And there it is. It's just that back and forth. Dun, 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 dun. Need no power greater anywhere beneath the sun. But it's pretty simple. I know there. I also remember trying one of these tunes and doing it from scratch. I think it's the first song. I think it's this one. Because it's in G. I know that much should start with. I just don't know the lick of it. I just know it's in G, and then this is in C and G. Stays in G. Then E. Then goes back to G. Like, I know this much about it. Then goes to C again, then to G. C. E. And G. It's actually a very easy chord progression. There's a bridge where it goes to a couple other chords. Magus Farm by Bob Dylan's a good one too. Oh yeah, it is. Another one I want to learn is this one too. I don't want your millions, mister. I don't want your diamond rings. All I want is the right to live, mister. And give back my job again. I don't want your Rolls Royce, mister. I don't want your diarrhea. All I want is food for my babies.
You look comfy.
Give me my old job back. What song and artist is this? It's Tom Jurevich. Actually, here, let me pull the screen up for you. Tom Jurevich, and the album specifically is called Rising Again. Which he actually has an original song that I know, which is this one right here, is actually Rising Again. It's a ballad, but it's probably one of my favorite ones. The only reason why I actually knew about him in the first place is because he's in this Little Red Songbook. It's right there. So it actually has like the entire fucking sheet music to it. Too long, my friends, the working folks of this country will rise again. Been quiet in 3 years now, and work and give us the pay. Gotta get a copy of that book now. Well, this is actually a 1995 edition, but you can probably find even more modern editions that even have more songs. I'm gonna check eBay. It's where I found it. So, I mean, at least finding this one was kind of a rare gem, but at least for finding just a generalized songbook, I mean, those should be pretty easy to find. Because I found a whole bunch of them when looking. This one just happened to stand out because it actually legit had a bunch of the sheet music and the lyrics and everything else to it, too. So I was just like, oh. I don't know if other songbooks do, but I imagine they do. At least in this one, it has like different, every now and then, little cool little images. I just pulled this down just to kind of show a couple. This is kind of on the first page on this one. GOC assessment, the IWW. Yeah, on this page it actually goes into a dedication to pretty much, well, pretty much like all workers really, but it starts off with a very specific people. Dedication to the two wobbly lumber workers killed by the company Goods at Grablow, Louisiana, July 7, 1912. To the wobbly maritime worker killed in the United States fruit strike of New Orleans, June 11, 1913. To Joe Hill, murdered by the authorities of the state of Utah, November 19, 1915. To the 6 wobblies killed in Everett, Washington massacre, November 5, 1916. To Frank Little, lynched by the copper barons at Butte, Montana, August 1, 1917. To James Brew, killed by the Bisbee deportation in Arizona, July 11th, 1917. To Wesley Everest, lynched by the Lumber Trust at Centralia, Washington, November 11th, 1919. To the 5 wobbly miners killed in the Columbine, Colorado massacre, November 21st, 1927. So, different one. To all the unnamed and unsung workers who struggle for a world united in peace and free from the exploitation of labor, our struggle will succeed. There's a few other ones in here. It's a little smaller, but I like this one. It's tiny little stamp. I mean, honestly, it's just like, it's kind of, you know, a little bit sad that the IWW doesn't have the strength that it used to back, not even 100 years ago. It's the one called Big Red Songbook with over 250 songs, but the only place to see is on Amazon. How fucked is that? Oh my god, is it really just on Amazon? What the fuck? The Big Red Songbook. Honestly, I bet you could probably find it somewhere else. Like, if it's on Amazon, it's guaranteed to be somewhere else. Actually, there's this pretty cool Etsy shop, speaking of, that has these cool little, like, pamphlets. Yeah, because I actually just bought 2. I bought this one a while back, Making Art as a Handicapless, and another one is, here, let me try to find it here. It's, yeah. Lucy Parsons, Principles of Anarchisms and Other Essays. So I haven't gotten it yet, but this is one thing that I ordered. I was also going to check out. Because Lucy Parsons especially is, 1, base as fuck, and 2, like, legit a pretty, you know, major pinnacle of, like, the idea of, you know, feminist strongwoman, too. Especially reading about her history. Our banners read only, "Behold your future executioners, Lucy Parsons." Lucia Eldon Gonzalez Parsons, born Lucia Carter, 1851, March 7th, 1942, was an American labor organizer, radical socialist, anarcho-communist, and a founding member of the IWW. Her mother was an African-American slave owned by a white man named Tolliver, who may have been her father. In 1863, during the Civil War, Tolliver relocated to Waco, Texas, with his slaves. In 1871, she married Albert Parsons, a newspaper editor and former Confederate soldier. They were forced to flee north from Texas in 1873 due to intolerant reactions to their interracial marriage. I wonder why. The couple settled in Chicago, Illinois, where Lucy contributed to a newspaper Albert family edited, The Alarm. Described by the Chicago Police Department as more dangerous than 1,000 rioters in the 1920s, Parsons and her husband had become highly effective anarchist organizers primarily involved in the labor movement in the late 19th century. but also participating in revolutionary activities on behalf of political prisoners, people of color, the homeless, and women. Following her husband's 1887 execution in conjunction with the Haymarket Affair, Lucy remained a leading American radical activist. As a founder of the IWW and a member of other political organizations, she was often arrested for giving political speeches or contributing anarchist literature. What about that free speech, though? Parsons continued to give fiery speeches in Chicago's Bughouse Square into her 80s. She died on March 7, 1942, in her house fire. In a house fire in end of all community area in Chicago. Her lover, George Markstall, died the next day from injuries he received while trying to save her. She was approximately 87 years old after her death. Police seized her library over 1,500 books and all of her personal papers. She is buried near her husband at Wildheim Cemetery, now Forest Home Cemetery, near the Haymarket Martyrs Monument in Forest Park, Illinois. That's one of them. That's pretty dope. I like this little card. I think I order it with the card. The capitalist heart is in the pocket, pocketbook, and uses club overuse, so you can wear diamonds by organizing it right. We can give him a ace, which is to earn an honest living. I like that card. That's a dope little card. But honestly, can't wait to check that out, because I definitely want to read in on some of her literature, because she's definitely, somebody who, especially when it comes to labor militancy, is definitely a major influence on how I view things. So definitely be, I think it just wouldn't behoove me to, be reading at least some of her work. But let's see what time it is. It's a little after 2:30. Cool. I have work at 3, but guess I could show up a little early. But let's see. Is there any other little fun things to check out? 2-wise. And all that news-wise. And all that fun shit. At least in the meantime. Blah. Oh, this is lovely. Biden administration gears up to crush youth activists climate lawsuit against U.S. government. Oh my god. We gotta do something. Oh, you doing something? Oh, hey, the money's too good. Actually, don't do something. Stop it. Stop it. We're only supposed to say we're doing something. What the fuck? I initially thought that was thunder, but that is not thunder. Hey! Yeah, go see what that's about, boy. Boof. Boof. Oh my god. Zukov! Jesus!
Okay, Zukov, we know there's somebody outside.
Actually, I know one of my friends was coming by to do some garden work, and that actually might be my buddy showing up. Zukov! Jesus Christ! Motherfucker, bro. Yep, I knew it. He is being a dork.
Hey, come me.
Zukov! Come on, bro!
Go.
He's almost...
I'm defending my home. Big home defend dog.
He almost...
I'm just picking up the grass right now. I was trying to do it with buckets, but that wasn't working, so I just pulled the whole compost bin to the back.
That's all good. But...
You on the stream? I didn't know anyone was here. It was so damn quiet and dark.
So really?
No.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, I guess Zukov's out, so somebody's home.
Yeah, I go to work here in a bit, but... I didn't know. Fuck you.
Dad roast.
I did not do that shit. Fuck off.
He roasted you.
My god.
I'm gonna pick up stuff real quick. I'll be back.
Alright, no worries, man.
Move Zukov over.
Man, it's looking like it's raining hard out there. I feel like I'm very heavily unprepared. I have my trench coat. You know what?
Hey.
I'm gonna have to deal with that. But... I'm gonna get this last little bowl loaded up and all that fun stuff, and get myself off to work. Got work. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I do too. Like I said, I got work here at pretty much 3, so might as well show up a little early and hit up my friend, see what he's doing with his shit. So see what his plans are for today. Zukov, oh my good lord. I don't think I want to be out there, Zukov. It's very wet. No! Stop it! Don't be a whiny little bitch. Jesus Christ. Zukov! Good lord. Come here, bro! Come here! Anyway, gonna head off on to that work grind and all that fun shit, so I'll be back later tonight. But till then, peace out.